welcome into the 73rd edition of the Cleveland Sports Realm. So we do have our tradition of doing these episodes after Cleveland athletes. And I think this one goes without saying. It's going to go to the Hall of Famer, Joe Thomas. So I don't think there's much more to say about that. Number 73, maybe the greatest tackle in Browns history. But ironically, the Joe Thomas episode will not contain a single bit of Browns.
Which is probably the way he would want it, right?
Yeah. It might
we don't want any negativity on this Joe Thomas special.
That's right. And in order to start the 73rd episode, we bring in resident podcast superfan, weekly listener, watcher, Phil Yan III is back here to expunge on his baseball knowledge as we do our Guardians preview show for the 2026 season. That's right. It's Wednesday, March 25th. And so tomorrow, the 26th, the Guardians begin another 162-game Odyssey. And we're going to break all of it down and what could potentially happen. And then we'll probably laugh at ourselves in September and October because everything we'll talk about tonight probably won't. Most of it won't come to fruition, but some of it will. So, Phil, Kevin, welcome in. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Yourself?
Doing pretty good, Kevin.
I've got no complaints. Opening day as we record, obviously Wednesday night, Jerome, as you just said, opening day for the Tribe is tomorrow. When this releases, it'll be today. So I couldn't be more excited, man. We were just talking last week about how excited we were with the WBC and just getting back into baseball, and it's here, man. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, I don't know if that did we touch it? No, because we recorded last Tuesday, so we didn't. United States did not win. I mean, not to throw it back to.
Well, right. I'm just saying we talked about how exciting the WBC was.
You know, it was an exciting championship game that they unfortunately came up short. But now everybody's back and playing with their major league teams, and that's where we're at. Tonight, the baseball season kicks off on Netflix. You have Aaron Judge and the Yankees against Rafi Devers, and you would think the Red Sox, but not any longer. It's the Giants, and that's with how the baseball season is going to get open tonight. And then most of the teams play tomorrow. And Cleveland getting some national spotlight early. They'll be on the Apple TV game on Friday. Then there'll be the first Sunday night baseball game of the NBC tenure of them taking over baseball. So that's where we're at. I think we'll start by going over, which is nice. The Guardians must have cared and thought about us. They gave us the full roster before we did the podcast, which is nice. So let's just run over that real quick. They're going to carry three catchers. That's going to be Bo Naylor, David Fry, and the living mascot himself, Austin Hedges. They'll have two first basemen, Kyle Manzardo, Rhys Hoskins, who are both obviously DH as well. Brian, your infielders, Brian Rocchio. The one person I don't think any of us wanted to see on the team besides maybe Josh Digman, that's Gabriel Arias. Third base goes without saying. And then your other infielder will be Daniel Schneemann. And you know Stephen Vogt's not going to have an opening day roster without him on it. And your outfielders will be Steven Kwan, Angel Martinez, CJ Kafis, who could also play first. And the man that I think we're going to spend a lot of time talking about tonight, that's Chase DeLauter. So that's what your roster looks like from position players side. Your starting rotation will be Tanner Bybee, who'll get the ball on opening night tomorrow. Gavin Williams, Joey Cantillo, Slate Ciccone, and Parker Messick. He made it over Logan Allen, which I'm very excited about. We'll touch on that later. I think you guys are too. And then your bullpen. No Gaddis. He'll start the year on the IL. You got Cade Smith as your closer. Sean Armstrong as your setup. Eric Sabrowski as one of your lefty high leverage guys. Tim Herron is your other lefty high leverage guy. Colin Holderman, Connor Brogdon, Peyton Pallette, the Rule 5 pick, and everyone's not favorite, Matt Festa. So that's who they're going to run into Seattle with. I guess we'll start here. This roster being formed this way, both of you, whoever wants to go first, you guys tell me, were you surprised? Anything surprise you majorly on there? I mean, I think they got it right based upon what they did.
Yeah, I thought they got it right. Now everybody here knows, and everybody who's been a loyal listener knows, I'm a big Nolan Jones guy. So I was actually surprised. I had to go there immediately. No, I was actually surprised that he was left off. Not necessarily that he deserved to be on there. I just felt like the writing was on the wall that he was potentially going to be on the team. So I was surprised that he was left off. That was really the only big-time surprise I had. I expected Gabriel Arias to be part of the lineup or part of the opening day roster. I obviously expected Rhys Hoskins. There wasn't any surprise with Kyle Manzardo or, Chase DeLauter or anything like that. I will be interested to see. I guess the only thing that's a little bit surprising is the 3 catchers to me. But again, like David Fry's a guy who can branch out outside of catchers. So, I mean, you could have listed him at first, third, left field, right field. It kind of is what it is. He just plays that primary position of catcher. So nothing that really took me too off guard, honestly.
Well, I'd say with the Nolan Jones thing, I think it's pretty telling what the league thinks of him. I mean, at $2 million, not everybody operates like our team does. Most teams don't look at $2 million as nothing but a pack of gum in the major leagues. I mean, obviously, we know how we look at that as like Mount Everest of money. I mean, but Nolan Jones, every single team had a chance to claim him, and not anyone did. So that kind of tells you what people think of him. And we'll touch on it later, but we were discussing already before the show began. He's way buried on the depth chart as far as right field. I mean, you got DeLauter as your plug-and-play starter, which I'm thrilled to see him make it. For once, they didn't manipulate somebody's service time. That actually did surprise me, but I think Chase left them no choice with how great he was in spring. Right, Phil?
Right. I don't think there were any real surprises for me. I guess Parker Messick over Logan Allen, but with Logan Allen's last start of the spring giving up 10, 12 runs or whatever it was, he gave him no choice.
And he didn't necessarily pitch great in the WBC for Panama either.
And from what I saw last year, I was pretty impressed with Parker Messick.
Yeah, Parker Messick pitched his ass off this spring. I don't think they planned on doing that, but he basically did what DeLauter did. He went in there, lit the camp up so much that he left them no choice. And that's the thing with DeLauter. I mean, they love manipulating service time. We know that. We both had said, Kevin, I think we even said on this podcast, there's probably not a high chance DeLauter makes the team, but I think he forced their hand so much and they're so starving for offense. There was nothing they could do to manipulate it. They had to have him on there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's a guy that we've been, obviously the fan base has been excited over for a few years. We've been asking for, not necessarily to promote somebody from within, but go out there and get that power hitting corner outfielder. And now we finally have, maybe the most hyped up prospect, excluding Bazana, since Lindor, finally stepping up to the major league level. And obviously he was only the 7th person, I think, in MLB history to have their playoff debut in a playoff game.
Which is crazy.
And, he honestly, outside of the area he had in center field that day, honestly, I was fine with how Chase DeLauter performed in the postseason as well. And seeing how he carried that over, just hitting for power, hitting for contact, and in spring training, and just being that guy that we were hoping he could be in spring training to be able to elevate himself to the active roster and be out there opening day. It's awesome. And I'm excited for Parker Messick as well. That's a guy that really had a hot streak last year for us. Unfortunately, when I was in Boston with our good friends Kyle and Phil, who have both been on the podcast, Phil Sprons, I kind of saw him get shelled in Boston. But you're going to have the ups and downs with those young pitchers. I'm glad Parker Messick made it over Logan Allen. I was a little bit surprised by that as well, Phil. But yeah, I couldn't be more thrilled with how the roster shook out, honestly.
Yeah, I guess the only one that was surprised me is Colin Holderman, because I know he had a pretty rough spring, but at the same time, they gave him $1.5 million guaranteed money. And on top of that, there's nobody else. They were at such a deficit for offense for so long. Their depth organizationally, pitching-wise, is not what it used to be. And a lot of their top guys are in the majors, so I can't think of one other person that maybe Colby Allard, but then that's 3 lefties. That's a lot. So I guess by default, Holderman made it, but you think Holderman's going to be good.
From what I've seen of him in the major leagues, he's got very good stuff. He throws 99, and with this organization in particular, they have a great track record of fixing guys who throw hard.
Yeah.
Look at Trevor Stephan. There's countless names over the years. If you throw hard, the Cleveland baseball team's going to fix you.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and not even necessarily fix you, but just develop you too.
Yeah.
They just, even obviously Clase is not going to be in the picture ever again, But even when they traded for him and that Kluber deal, like it was just a guy who was 20 years old who threw 100 miles an hour. Get him in here and let's see what we can do for him.
And a guy we shouldn't forget about in terms of the pitching depth is Daniel Espino.
Yeah,
he's finally healthy, and he's been, I feel like, the number one pitching prospect for this team for years.
It's been a few years.
Well,
now.
yeah, I mean, there was probably a point where we never thought he was going to pitch again. I don't think it's a bold take to say that the first person who struggles, it wouldn't shock me if Espino's up here.
Yeah, they have Walters, who's starting on the IL, but I think he's coming back relatively soon. Gaddis, I don't think is going to be more than 2 weeks, from what I heard.
Yeah, they said Gaddis will be. They said Gaddis will actually be going. He's not going to go out with the team to Seattle because he's going right with the Clippers, and he's going to start pitching this weekend for them on a rehab assignment already.
And you can't forget about your buddy Pedro Avila.
Yeah, I heard from Zach Meisel yesterday, who I've glazed on this show many times before, and rightfully so because he's got great information. They're going to stretch Pedro out as a starter.
Really?
In Columbus. That's what Meisel
wow.
said he heard that they're considering, which makes sense because they have a good rotation. I think we know that, but then you have Logan Allen, who's kind of your sixth starter, but all three of us know you don't make it through this 162-game gauntlet without 9 or 10 starters, and if any of those other guys go down, I guess their next turn would be Doug Nikhazy.
I didn't like what I saw out of him.
No. Who's the other guy? I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh.
They got Cody Hoyer down there.
Yeah, but he's a bullpen guy. But I'm thinking starter. I can't think of. There's another starter, Will Dion. He's been in AAA forever.
The one thing about this team, they'll figure it out pitching wise. I mean, every single season, there's like 4 pitchers that come along through the 162 game grind that we've never heard of. Who comes up getting outs. A year ago, I didn't know who Parker Messick was. I've never seen Slade Ciccone throw a pitch a year ago. There's always some random name.
Yeah, and Slade Ciccone, when we traded Naylor, we were ripping that deal. He was
terrible
horrible.
Numbers.
7.5 ERA, I think, when we traded for him. But again, going back to what you just said, Phil, just a couple minutes ago, they got a pitching prospect that they liked, developed them, had a great year last year. See if he rolls out and can be consistent.
And I'm going to go back,
again.
Kevin. One of our very early on in an episode, and this was when they were. This was last year. We were doing a free agency thing on them, like a hot stove sort of thing. This is probably a year and a half ago. And I was sitting here complaining about them, as I often do. And you looked at me and you said, yeah, they don't deserve any merit in hitting. But you looked at me and looked at our audience, and you were 100% right. You said, Carl Willis and his staff, what they've done over the years, they deserve the respect that no matter who you bring in, just trust them. And you're right. And I go back to a year and a half ago when you said that, and I got to give you your flowers on that because, like Phil just said, Parker Messick started last year in Akron pitching for the Rubber Ducks. I mean, they have a way about them, and I think, one of the things that Carl Willis, even at his age, is still so innovative and connects with these guys and gets them to do. And then Brad Goldberg and Joe Torres, the assistants too, they deserve some credit too. But it all starts with Carl, who's been a major league pitching coach longer than any of us have been alive.
Yeah, and I feel like I almost sound like a broken record whenever we talk about this, because every time a pitcher's brought in or whenever we talk about what our concerns are with the Indians, with the Tribe, it's always, I've never been concerned with the pitching, and it's never been because of the people they brought in that I'm like, oh, this could be a bad fit or whatever it is. It's just always, every single time they figured it out. Like every single time they figured out pitching. So whenever there's concerns with pitching, I've just been like, I'm not concerned with it. I'm concerned with the hitting because that's been the problem. Unless we have superstars.
That's been the problem majority of our life.
Yeah, stepping up to the dish.
Corey Kluber was never a top prospect.
No.
And they turned him into an all-star.
Yeah, Carlos Carrasco was go back way many.
And Carlos Carrasco
was a throw-in.
He was horrible.
He was also a throw-in in that. The top prospect they got in that never panned out to do anything.
I think the only real top pitching prospect that they really went after, and it was because another team was coming after one of our own players, was Trevor Bauer. I think maybe the only player that I can think of that was like an elite pitching prospect that we just brought into the organization in terms of, or as opposed to acquiring somebody like a Carlos Carrasco and trying to develop him.
And I think you're right, because they get that respect around the league, because oftentimes if a guy flames out in Cleveland, it takes a team a little while before they're willing to give him a chance again. Cleveland and absolutely. Well, I mean, I don't know, to be honest with you. I didn't follow it. I know the Padres gave him a minor league deal. I don't know what kind of spring he had, but his stuff was so flat and disgusting last year. He can't possibly have had a good spring. If he did,
I don't think he did.
I'll eat my hat. I mean, it's just I just don't see that happening.
Another thing, Shane Bieber, I don't think he played a game with AAA. He went straight from Akron to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then look, I mean, Aaron Savali has carved himself out a great career.
He was never a top prospect. Makes me excited about the kid they got for Shane Bieber.
Yes.
Steven.
Cal Steffen, Steven, however you want to say it. Yeah, absolutely.
So they'll find guys through the season. I mean, I think the pitching will be at least fine.
Always is.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about specifically the closer's role. We talked about this a little bit on the way here. I don't think, Cade Smith, I think, will be fine. And I think he'll be above average, like pretty good. But I think the problem is that now people in this city, they always want to compare things to Emmanuel Clase. What people have to understand is Emmanuel Clase had the best closer season ever in 2024 by someone not named Mariano Rivera. So don't expect that out of Cade Smith. But if Cade Smith gives you a, let's just roughly say 2.50 ERA with 5 blown saves, that's an above average season from a closer, and that's kind of what I'm expecting this year. I'm not expecting Clase, but I'm also not expecting Cade Smith.
Like a Cody Allen type of season.
To go out there and blow everything and have a 5 ERA like Cody Allen in 2018. Go ahead, Kevin.
No, that's all I was going to say was basically like Cade Smith, as long as he's putting up those type of numbers, I'm perfectly okay with it. You can't always compare the replacement to the previous guy.
Well,
you can't always, especially with the circumstances that were given in this case, and with
that's
just who it was
all-time
in general.
greatness there. That's something that kind of season comes around once every 50 years.
I was gonna say, dude, I don't think we'll probably never see a closer that good in a Cleveland baseball uniform ever again.
I don't think so, Phil.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I
mean,
I can't doubt this organization with pitching. Nice thing is, if Smith were to struggle, which I don't think he will, I think he'll have an all-star type of season. Sean Armstrong does have closer's experience last year. He did a lot of that with Texas, and he's been pretty consistent here in the past few years.
It's kind of funny. Sean Armstrong comes full circle because he was a lot of people, if you're a casual baseball fan, nothing against you, he was one of the last guys in that bullpen on those really good 2016 and 17 teams. And, he was in low leverage roles, when it's 10-1 each way. And then the guy kind of goes out and goes to all these different teams and places. And now you bring him back and he's your setup guy. I guess maybe your 7th inning guy, because Gaddis is probably your setup guy. Either way, they're interchangeable.
Yeah. Herron will pitch a lot of 7th innings. Sabrowski will pitch a lot of 7th innings. He'll find a way to get Festa in there. This kid we got in the Rule 5, Peyton Pallett, Zach Meisel, your buddy, was talking about how great his stuff was. Throwing 98. Yeah. Has a great changeup, great curveball. He's another guy I could see this team really turning into the next really good reliever in Cleveland.
Well, maybe you hope that, Steffen, obviously we don't think he's ever going to be anything again. We just talked about that.
He lost ever since his Tommy John. I mean, he went from throwing 97 to now he's not even topping 90 miles an hour.
How did Trevor Steffen start here? As the last guy to make the bullpen as a Rule 5 pick. Hopefully Peyton Pallett, I think whatever, Pallett, I believe is the way you say it. Hopefully he's the next Trevor Steffen, and then he turns into a high leverage guy for you. Mm-hmm. But you're right. I've heard a lot of good things out of Arizona about his stuff too. And I think this bullpen will be probably a top 5 bullpen in the American League.
They lost Clase last year, and they somehow got better.
Yeah.
They held it down during that playoff run.
The one thing I like about also signing Sean Armstrong is I think it lessens Gaddis's workload a little bit. And that guy's pitched a lot of innings. There's a lot of miles on that arm the last few years. So him actually missing the first couple weeks of the season might be a blessing in disguise.
Definitely. I'm looking at Tim Herron to have a bounce-back year, too, because he was great in the playoffs, but he had a rough regular season. He was going up and down from Columbus to Cleveland all year. He had a great spring, I believe, and, he's got great stuff. I expect him to get back to his 2024 form.
Yeah, absolutely. How about I think we covered almost every guy in the bullpen. Colby
Connor Brogdon.
Connor Brogdon.
Never seen the guy pitch in my life, but hopefully it's good.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's here because he took a deal under $1 million, their favorite kind of deal.
No, I think they gave him 1.5.
Oh,
pretty
man.
sure he opened up the wallet for him.
Wow.
Yeah, well, there's 1.5. I guess Connor Brogdon pitched okay for the Giants, I believe it was.
I'm pretty sure he was pretty bad, but again, we'll see. They'll probably turn him into something good.
Yep. So we all agree the bullpen's going to be good.
Bullpen will be fine.
We all agree the rotation's going to be
top
good.
10 in the league, I would imagine.
Now let's talk about the problem child for the last
man.
decade, maybe not.
It's going on a decade.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is going on a decade.
That's the offense. So I actually am going to start. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and give your opinions, but I'm just going to put this disclaimer out there. I think this has the potential to be the best offense since 2019 when they won 93 games and Carlos Santana had a Silver Slugger year. I think this has the best chance to be the best offense in 7 years. There is a lot of potential. You don't have the drudgery and the misery of Nolan Jones and Jonathan Rodriguez hitting cleanup against lefties anymore. They designated him for assignment today.
Good job, guys.
Thank God.
And hopefully somebody claims him.
Who was worse in right field, him or John Kenzie?
John Kenzie was a good defender.
Rodriguez was a
terrible.
Dude, that John
I think Travis
Kenzie,
Hafner could play a better right field.
Yeah,
J-Rod
J-Rod was not great for us,
God.
man.
It was an adventure every fly ball with him.
It was an adventure.
But back to what I was saying. 7 years. There's a lot of potential here. DeLauter has a chance if he stays healthy to win Rookie of the Year. I think Brian Rocchio has a chance to be, if he can somehow do what he did in September and October, and how can he figure out to extend that for, I don't know, the whole season. I think Kwan's going to have a bounce back year. Jose, I don't think we need to address.
I mean, Kwan's going to start through the first 15 games. Kwan's going to have a batting average of like 350.
Yeah.
And then by game 60, he'll be at like 292.
Well, Kwan's going to do what he does every year. He's going to He's going to play with his ass on fire in April, and then in May he's going to have this massive, disgusting slump, and then June he's going to be like hot as hell again. He does it every year.
He'll end up around 280, 285, and
yeah. I think a lot, and it's funny because the last time we had Phil on, we all sat here and talked about how they non-tender Bo Naylor. They seem to still be very hopeful on Bo Naylor offensively. We'll see there. I'm still kind of questioning that. Rhys Hoskins, I actually think is going to end up being the third best hitter on this team. And Paul Dolan's going to love it and laugh all the way to the bank because he's only $1.5 million. But I think Rhys Hoskins' first hot take is going to hit 30 home runs for this team this year.
26 edition of Mike Napoli.
Yes, I think that's where it's going to be.
Okay.
But they like
I
it
think
even
that'd
better.
be absolutely fantastic.
They like
obviously.
it even better this time because they still had to pay Napoli $8 million back then. So
but they also got to Game 7 of the World Series that year. So we'll see what Rhys Hoskins can do.
I'm still high on CJ Kafis, so this is why all these comments I'm making, this is why I believe this offense actually has a chance to maybe be a little bit below league average. I mean, and they weren't even close to that last year. They literally
best offense since 2019, below average.
That'd be a huge uptick.
It would be.
They were statistically one of the worst offenses to ever make the postseason in the league's history last year. They were the 28th ranked offense. Manzardo hit 27 home runs last year. Could he bump that up a little bit more? And can he give you a full year? He had struggled in September last year. I think so. I'm very excited about this offense. And like I said, if we can hover around league average, I'll be ready to throw a parade down East 9th Street. What do you guys think of the offense?
I'm excited myself. I'm excited to see the new names in there, specifically, obviously, Jerome, you just touched on it with Hoskins and DeLauter. I'm interested mostly to see how the lineup is going to be constructed because they have a lot of options here, right? Like, obviously, you're going to be batting Quan first. You're going to be batting Ramirez third. And then it's kind of like throwing darts at a dartboard is what I believe Vogt said last year on how he constructed the lineup. So I have a feeling it's going to be some sort of mixture, Hoskins, DeLauter, Manzardo, potentially somewhere 4 through 6. I think Manzardo or DeLauter is probably going to bat second. I know we were talking about this on the drive here today. I personally think it's probably going to be Manzardo batting second. I don't know what you two think. I just think that's something that they've done in the past that has worked at times, so they might just roll it out there to start. But yeah, man, I'm really excited. I really want to see David Fry really be our everyday catcher. I don't know how likely that is with him still obviously potentially recovering from that injury, the elbow injury. So I'm excited to see how it's going to be constructed, man. I really am. Because obviously you can go David Fry in any of the corners at catcher. I don't want to see Naylor like solidified at catcher just based off of what we've seen the last 2 years. Austin Hedges will never be the everyday catcher. So I'm excited to see how it's going to happen, man. And obviously with Kafis and Schneemann, they'll get their rotations in the corner outfield. Obviously Schneemann middle infield and third. And Kafis at first as well, mixing in. So I think those first 6, I'm really excited. Obviously 7, 8, 9 still going to be a question mark. Rocchio will be somewhere in there. I would prefer for him not to be 9th just because I do like having speed on the base paths for when the top of the order gets up. So I'm excited, man. I'm really interested to see, obviously with DeLauter, if he gets hot, man, the ceiling on this offense could not uncapped, but the ceiling gets obviously a lot higher with DeLauter's production potentially. So
yeah,
Phil?
I think a lot. I think it all falls on DeLauter's shoulders. Can the guy stay healthy? Because I think I'm 99% sure this guy is an all-star caliber hitter. It's just can you play 100 games? If you told me we're gonna get 100 games out of Chase DeLauter this season, we're gonna make the playoffs. Like you guys have said, the first 6 in the lineup, I don't know how they're going to be placed, but
I'm okay with it.
I'm pretty happy with it. 7, 8, 9. You hope that either Bo Naylor or, between Bo Naylor, Rocchio, Martinez, Kafis, you hope one or two of those guys can really make a legit step in the right direction. And then you got Arias hanging down there. Hopefully he'll only be here for like 3 weeks.
I want him starting out.
I can't wait for the day Arias is off the team. Watching his at-bats is just a miserable, miserable experience, and Travis Bazzana needs to be up here as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's I think what I'm most excited about, and I don't even know if I should be excited about it just because of how this team manipulates their service time. And I know we've said it on the last couple episodes, I believe, Jerome, but I really, really want to see Bazzana get up here some point around June, July, get him a few months before potentially the playoffs. I know we're looking extremely far out, but that's my, I think best case scenario for this team is Bazzana batting second by the end of the year, and he's proven that he can hit, 280.
If you have Bazzana up here, you got 7 guys in the lineup that I'm absolutely excited about that have real potential and we saw what Vogt's lineups are. You never really see the same lineup twice in a row. They get mixed around like crazy. Who's hot? Who's not? If you're hot, you're hitting second. It doesn't matter what. Well,
last year the offense got so bad.
They had Jonathan Rodriguez hitting cleanup in a playoff game because he had 2 good games at the end of the season.
I remember that because we were at that game at J-Rod.
Yeah, when they clinched,
he let off the second. He let off the second inning with a bomb.
Yeah.
I remember that. And we were literally ripping the lineup on the way to the stadium.
Yeah, he constructs lineups, in terms of hot streaks and cold streaks.
Well, last year,
and just gut feeling too.
Well, last year the offense got so dreadful that if you went 1 for 4 with a single, you were in the 2-hole the next day between Quan and Hosey. Speaking
of the 2-hole, who do you guys think is actually going to start the season Thursday night batting in between Quan and Ramirez?
I believe that the lineup that he wrote in his lineup card on Monday night for the exhibition game at Chase Field in Arizona, I think that's the lineup he's going to roll out with at T-Mobile Park tomorrow in Seattle tomorrow night. So I think Chase is hitting second.
I think I agree with that.
I think this is just my opinion. And I could be – this is how I think you're going 1 through 9 tomorrow. I think Quan, obviously, in center. I think then Chase in right. I think then you'll go Hosey in third. Kyle at fourth, DHing or playing first, one of the two. Reese, whatever.
The other one.
Yep, vice versa. Then I actually think you're going to go Bo Naylor sixth. I think Kafis or Martinez seventh. Arias eighth, and Brian Rocchio ninth. That's what I think it's going to be tomorrow night. And I'm with Phil. I think Arias is on borrowed time. I mean, because
he's been on borrowed time for years.
Well, but the thing people
should have been on borrowed time for years.
Yeah, the thing people forget is Arias is. People are like, "Oh, he's young." No, he's not. He's actually his first. Like he first came up at the end in the middle of 2022.
He's the last piece remaining from the Clevenger deal, right?
No, Cantillo.
And Hedges.
Cantillo. Well, Hedges came back.
Well, Hedges came back. Yeah, Hedges made full circle.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you're right.
If Arias didn't have the golden arm that gets all the guys at home plate on the relays, he would not. I don't know if he'd be in the major leagues. That's the only thing that saves him.
I think Arias should bat. I know, like they have him at 8th and Rocchio 9th. I would honestly flip those two. I know it really doesn't matter. We're arguing 8 and 9 spots here, but I trust Rocktober over Arias.
Well,
all day.
The thing is, I think that keeps Arias around is his bazooka attached to his right shoulder, like you just said. And then there was times last year, where the offense would be dreadful, and then out of nowhere they'd have two guys on with two out, and Arias would just come up out of nowhere after swinging and missing it 5 to 6 straight at bats of pitches in the left-handed hitter's batter's box. He'd get one remotely close to the strike zone and manage to hit it 460 feet for a home run. You and I actually had texted about it. We said, there it is. And it would happen once a week. He'd get a huge hit. And
after that, 0 for 13.
Yeah, crickets the rest of the week. That would be on a Sunday afternoon. Doesn't do anything. And then next Sunday, the offense is struggling again. There's Arias, another 3-run bases clearing double. So, like, every time you're ready to least expect it, and I think that's what the organization's hanging their hat on, because I don't see what else. But I'm not naming names, but people who have been on Twitter, accounts that I follow and stuff, who've been major Arias truthers, they are even turning on him, because I saw a lot of people today when they had tweeted the picture of the opening day roster. A lot of people, perfect roster except 13. Perfect roster, get Arias out of here. So, like, the fan base, if there's anyone who's going to get booed the first homestand against the Cubs, it's going to be Arias. The fans have had enough of Gabriel Arias.
Do you think when his time is inevitably done this year, hopefully, do you think they just promote? I shouldn't say promote, but do you think they just basically put Schneemann every day middle infield?
I wouldn't mind if they did that now. We were talking.
If it were up to me, I'd have Arias on the bench as the utility guy. I'd throw Rocchio at short. I'd throw Schneemann at second.
I think that's exactly what I would do as well, honestly.
I agree with you guys. And what baffles me is 2 years ago, when Vogt's first year on the job, when they started the year in Oakland, and Vogt said, well, Rocchio's going to be our everyday shortstop. Arias is going to be the utility guy. Now, Arias has somehow earned an everyday role again by managing to play worse than he did before.
Do we actually know that?
I don't think he earned the spot. We
haven't seen a lineup yet, technically.
That was back in the day, by the way. That was Rocchio at short. Like, Jimenez was set it and forget it at second when that happened.
Yeah.
When they were debating between Rocchio and Arias.
And that was back in the day when Angel Martinez was actually in that shortstop. They had like 6 guys battling for shortstop that year, because they had Rocchio, Tyler Freeman was in the running, Arias was in the running.
I mean, Vogt loves Daniel Schneemann, so I wouldn't put it past him to kind of do what we said. Throw Schneemann at second base, Rocchio at short. We might see we haven't played any games yet, so we really don't know.
I mean, I just know this. We can't do what we did in the playoffs last year where Arias was hitting 5th.
No.
That just can't happen under any circumstances.
We've already upgraded it. He's batting 8th. Or he was batting 8th in the last day of spring training.
Yeah. So. Bo Naylor. Last time we all were together on the podcast, we were all talking about non-tendering Bo Naylor. I don't know if it's going to translate. We'll see. Bo Naylor did have a pretty damn good World Baseball Classic. He was one of the few guys who hit for Canada. Actually hit a huge home run against the United States to, actually make the game closer than it really was. I'm not buying Bo just because I want to see it in a actual Cleveland Guardians uniform and not a Canadian uniform. Where are you guys at on Bo Naylor? Because we all three last year were ready to get rid of him. Clearly, the organization viewed it differently than the three of us did. Are you in wait and see mode with Bo, or are you at the end of the
Not
line
anymore.
with Bo?
I was in wait and see mode at the beginning of last year. I'm kind of done with the whole Bo Naylor experiment. Excuse me.
I give it to Memorial Day, mid-May or so. I think I could see him. I mean, he hit 180 last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like for the guy to
Well,
hit.
they didn't have many guys who hit above 200, all jokes aside.
I mean, if he hit 225, that's a huge improvement. If he could live around 230, 240, I'd be thrilled. If it's more of the same, you got David Fry.
Yeah, I mean,
throw Fry in there every day.
If he's batting 230, 240, I mean, I'm taking that out of the catching position just about from anybody, honestly, whether it's Bo Naylor or not. But yeah, I was going to say, I 100% agree with you, Phil. If they're starting Bo every day, if he's their everyday catcher for the first month and a half, and he's below the Mendoza line for the first month and a half, like I'm going David Fry immediately. I already want David Fry full-time catching if he's fully healthy.
Yeah, you got David Fry, you got Hedges, whatever. He's always going to be on the team. And you got Cooper Engel, that prospect they have in Columbus who had a great year last year. Yeah. So Bo Naylor, I mean, he had a great spring training, WBC. He had a nice end to 2025, but there's pressure on him. I mean, he's got a hit.
I agree, because he's also another guy who's getting towards the end of his line. He was also here, just like Arias. He first came up in 2022. And then they sent him down in 23 to manipulate his service time. And then they brought him up, and he had a nice second half in 23. But then 24 and 25 haven't been very good.
This is kind of make it or break it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like we had the same conversation at the beginning of last year too. But there were glimpses over last year that you're like, okay.
Well, the end of the season, he was really the month of September. He was huge in that playoff run. So that was his only saving grace. If he would have if he didn't perform down the stretch like he did, I don't know if he would have been guaranteed a roster spot this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, let's touch on Rhys Hoskins. Kevin and I have actually exhausted every talking point we have on him. Your opinions on Rhys Hoskins as we have you here.
I was very happy when I saw that. I was at a really low point with this team prior to that signing, just because they didn't do one thing to the offense, and though it's a cheap deal, it felt refreshing to bring in a legitimate veteran major leaguer who's had playoff success. I mean, last year he was injured most of the year. When this guy plays 120 games, you could book him for 20 some home runs.
Yep.
That's something this lineup has needed for a long time. You had Carlos Santana, your buddy, at first base last year.
Yeah.
Rhys Hoskins is, when healthy, plenty better than Carlos Santana. You're going to go, hopefully you're going from what Carlos hit last year, 213 with 8 homers.
I think he had 11.
Yeah, same difference. If you're going from that to Rhys Hoskins hitting 240 with 24 homers, that's a huge upgrade.
Yeah, you're going.
I'm taking that right in the middle of the lineup.
So,
you're going from shit on a shingle to flaming
and 40-year-old Carlos Santana, his bat speed was gone. Nobody cared when he came up to the plate. Rhys Hoskins has a reputation in this league. You can't miss a curveball down the middle to him because he's going to hit it 400 feet.
And I thought it was funny how desperate this lineup was for power. I think I read somewhere they hit like the second most home runs in the Cactus League. Now, we know the ball flies in Arizona, but I actually think there's going to be some power. Angel Martinez has sneaky pop. Daniel Schneemann has sneaky pop. If Bo Naylor could ever put it together, he actually has good pop in his bat. Hoskins, we just talked about his pop. Jose could be, 50 years old. I think he's still going to come out with a 30 and 100 season. So there's a lot and then DeLauter. obviously.
Sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit for this offense, which is crazy to say. And if all this comes together, there'll be a league average offense.
Yeah.
But
So the sky's not the limit.
Yeah, sky's not the limit, but
but compared to what we've got in the last handful of years, a league average offense would feel like the sky's the limit, for one, and for two, with the we talked about it the whole first half of the pod. The pitching's gonna be good. This team has never needed to score 15 runs to win. All they need is 4 or more, and they're good to go. And they couldn't even sniff that last year.
They had 88 wins last year with the worst offense in baseball, really. So you improve that. You improve that 225 average to just up it a little bit, and should be fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of them, they did win. They are coming off back-to-back division championships. So let's talk about this American League Central a little bit. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were doing power rankings. And this so accurately describes the Cleveland Guardians. And the one host said to the other, he said, hey, we just did all 30-team power rankings. He said, is there any team that you think we misplaced? And the other host said, yeah. He goes, Cleveland. He goes, we have them at 22nd. He goes, here's the deal with them. He goes, they show up every year. He goes, they pitch their asses off. He goes, they show up with Jose Ramirez and about 6-7 guys you've never effing heard of. He goes, and somehow they win the division and go to the playoffs. He's like, so yeah, we misplaced Cleveland. That's how this happens every year, it seems. I criticize them. We all criticize them. And then they somehow figure it out. However, this division got a lot better, in my opinion. The Tigers' rotation is going to be filthy. You're going to have Tarek and Framber back-to-back. Justin Verlander, who I think actually still has a little bit left in the tank.
Yep.
And then Jack Flaherty, and then Casey Mize is your 5. That is a damn good rotation. The White Sox, they're going to be a little bit better, I think. They got Austin Hayes, who we wanted here. Didn't happen. They got the guy from Japan who's obsessed with bidets and demanded them to be put in the clubhouse, Morikawa or
I don't know his name.
Yeah, Murakami.
Colson Montgomery's a really good prospect.
Colson Montgomery. Benintendi, he still could be okay, maybe.
Yeah.
And then the Royals. They got Isaac Collins from the Brewers.
Matt Strahm. He's going to be tough on the lefties, on the 70 lefties on this team.
Yep. And then, obviously, we know Bobby Witt is just an absolute superstar. Salvi still can hit. He may be old, but he's still got bat speed.
Jack Caglione,
who
Love him.
He had a rough rookie year, but I think all the tools are there for him to be good.
Starling Marte,
and our old friend Lane Thomas are going to be patrolling the big outfield at the Big K.
They weren't healthy last year. And that starting rotation is tough with Ragans, Lugo, Cameron, Bubic. Waka. If those guys are healthy this year, they won 82, 83 games last season with lots of injuries. If they're healthy this year, I think as of now, I have them making the playoffs. But
so that's where we're at. And then I'm just going to straight up say I think the Twins are going to be ass. I don't think they're going to be any good.
I'm not high on Minnesota myself.
Yeah, you lose your ace in Pablo Lopez to Tommy John. Now Joe Ryan has to move up a spot. I don't think Simeon Woods Richardson's anything great. Bailey Ober is not good against anybody but Cleveland. So needless to say, the division all seemed to get better. Cleveland's banking on mainly getting better internally. That's what they've told us all
for our lifetime.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
no external additions. Unless it's Carlos Santana
for the fourth
or Michael Bourne and Nick Swisher when they went crazy in 2013.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. The only times they spend money, it doesn't really pan out.
No, even Edwin Encarnacion didn't really pan out here.
We have Josh Bell, Mike Zunino. They all suck.
Yeah, we do beg them to spend money, and every instance they have, it hasn't worked.
I will say, Edwin worked out for the most part because he gave you 30 and 100. It just sucked that he got hurt.
220 though. He wasn't like crazy. Wasn't he like 220, 230?
He wasn't as good as he was.
Yeah, he
in
wasn't.
Toronto.
It wasn't Blue Jays.
Yeah.
So with
Edwin.
all that being said, let's break down this division. I think, like I said, I do think the White Sox are going to be better. I think the Royals will be better. I think the Tigers, with that rotation, what happened
They're
last
the
year
best team in the division.
was historic. They're not going to have a 15.5 game collapse again. So where are you guys at with this division, Kevin? How do you see the AL Central shaking out?
I mean, like I just said, I think the Tigers are the clear heavy favorite. I would expect them to come out of this division, winning the division. I do like the Guards' chances of actually keeping this a competitive, like fighting for second place in the division and really fighting for a playoff spot towards the end of the year. Love that. Like you just said, I do like the additions that the White Sox have made. I think they'll be better. I don't think that they're going to be a playoff team this year. And I do like the Royals a lot. I think the Royals are going to be fighting for a playoff spot as well, especially if Caglione really does step up and can be a solid bat in the middle of that lineup. And if he was a guy too, I don't know, have the Royals been like transparent about how they're going to use him? Because he was a guy who pitched a little bit and
He's just hitting, I think.
He's just
hitting? Okay.
He's playing right field. One guy on the Royals I forgot to mention who got paid this offseason. He had a monster year last year. Is Michael Garcia.
Oh,
he is.
He's
him
really
and Witt
good.
may be one of the best left sides of the infield across the majors.
Yes.
He's a great player.
Yes.
So I agree with you. I think the Tigers are going to win the division. And I actually think that the Royals are going to make the playoffs and finish in second. I think the Guardians are going to finish in third. But go ahead, Phil.
Like I said, I think I'm in a pretty good place with this with the Tribe. I think the offense will be better and all that, but as you guys have said, the rest of the AL also got better, especially this division. Tigers, Framber Valdez is always a thorn in our side.
He no-hit us.
Hit us. I mean, he's someone I've never liked facing. Those guys are going to have their way with. Like we played pretty well against Detroit last season. It's not going to be that way this year. They're going to kill us. Kansas City, they have a lot of tough lefties on their team. I think you're looking at. I think Detroit's going to win in the 90s, 93, 94 games. KC upper 80s. We'll be third. I think we'll be in the hunt. And then Chicago, Minnesota, 4-5, whatever order.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I really think the Tribe and the Royals are going to be fighting until the end of the season for that second place spot. Yeah, for the wild card. And yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're all relatively in the same place that the top three will be Detroit, Kansas City, and Cleveland. And then I do think the Twins are going to be really, really awful. So I think the White Sox will make a jump. They might even be able to get in the mid 70s for wins this year. It'll be interesting to see how their pitching is though, because they have a couple of those kids like Shane Smith.
He's good.
Yeah. They brought back Eric Fetty, who was great for them a couple years ago. Yeah, we'll see. Their offense though, like I said, they have a lot of kids. That Kyle Teal, but he just hurt himself in the WBC, so he won't be playing right away. Yeah. So I think the division's going to be extremely competitive, and like we always shit, and rightly so, on the AL Central for being awful. I don't think it will be awful this year. Like I think it's going to be a pretty damn good division.
Yeah, I do too. I don't see the White Sox really getting into the 70s. I do think like high 60s I could see the White Sox finishing. But yeah, Jerome, I actually do agree with. I think the Twins are going to be god awful this year. High 50s probably. With wins.
I think the Twins are going to be an abomination. Like
100 losses, maybe.
Their big offseason signing was Josh Bell. Like that guy.
We've been there.
That guy had no bat speed in 2023 in Cleveland. Like I also like the only thing they signed Victor Carantini, who I actually like and think is a good hitter, but
remember did he have that walk off against Gaddis in Houston?
Yes, I do remember that. I think Victor Carantini's good, but they're going to stink so bad he'll be wearing another uniform by the deadline.
Yeah, and I think not even the division. I think the whole AL got a whole hell of a lot better. I mean, you look at Texas, they got Mackenzie Gore. You look at Baltimore, got Pete Alonso. I mean,
and they got Taylor Ward. That's a lot of home runs.
Yeah, I mean, the AL got better, and it was already pretty good. You got Toronto, New York, Boston. Seattle.
Toronto got better.
Toronto. You got Dylan Cease. I mean, there's.
Well, and people say, well, the Yankees, they're just running it back. They're running back a pretty damn good team that actually won 90-some games last year. I understand that, I mean, they still have Bellinger. Now, they added Randall Grichuk, who we've been dying for Cleveland to sign for years. So we'll see. Like, the AL is loaded. Then you go to the West. I think Seattle's pitching. I mean, they're a World Series contender. They have a great offense. Houston fell off last year, but they're Houston. They have a pedigree. The A's. I think the A's are going to be better. If their pitching could get a hold, they have a hell of an offense with Jacob Wilson, Soderstrom. Of course, I can't fail to mention my guy Shea Langoliers. Kurtz, obviously.
Kurtz might be an MVP
awesome,
candidate.
Dude. He's awesome.
Yeah. Lawrence Butler, the lot. And then
Rooker.
Oh, of course. How could you forget?
Probably their best home run hitter.
Somebody that we were advocating for, too.
Yeah. So I think
Tampa Bay's getting Shane McClanahan back, too.
Tampa Bay doesn't have much of an offense, though. But
they always seem very tough to beat.
But
the more we're talking about this, the more I'm doubting the guards' chances this year. Seriously.
Yeah,
I was thinking
there's a lot of – there's not many slouches in the AL, and –
there's not a lot of teams who are going into the year saying
that's why these first 7 games against Seattle and the Dodgers. I mean, these might be the 7 hardest games of the whole season.
If they're 3-4 or worse, I mean, the season
3-4 would be
season's cooked.
No. If they somehow,
I'd be thrilled with 3-4.
If they somehow, I said this to my coworker today because you and I have differing opinions on the Cubs, which we'll touch in a minute here, but. If they somehow, I think the first 10's a gauntlet. You play Seattle on the road for 4, then you go to Dodger Stadium where nobody wins, and then you come home and the Chicago Cubs show up to town. If they actually come out of this stretch like 3-7 and 4-6, I won't be bitching.
No, I mean I think
you better remember that you just said that. By
I
the way,
will.
I don't want to be recording
next Tuesday
at 3-7 in a week and a half or 2 weeks. However many games they play in there. I don't want to be recording it after they come off at 3-7, maybe they're 4-8, and you thinking that the season's over. You can't be doing that.
No, I mean this is a brutal stretch to start, though.
It absolutely is.
But,
I mean the Mariners. Spoiler alert. You know what? Spoiler alert in general. Like our first 2 series is my World Series prediction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Mariners Dodgers.
Okay.
I mean
that's it.
The thing is, it is not impossible for them to walk away 1-6 or 0-7.
It's not.
So I mean, just
no, they have to.
Find a way to squeak out a few wins.
Yeah, if they could at least, ideally, it'd be nice if they could split in Seattle. Just show up to Dodger Stadium and don't get swept. I guess is the best.
Win one game in Dodger Stadium.
Game, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah. I mean, because. Poor Parker Messick, probably excited to make the big league club.
His ERA is going to start at 24.
Poor Parker.
1 inning pitch.
Poor Parker Messick makes his first opening day roster, and the kid's reward is to go face Kyle Tucker, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani. Oh, jeez. Well, anywho, all right, I guess we'll just go around real quick, and you know what? Just for the hell of it, not that we're going to be right, but who knows? Maybe we will be. Let's pick the divisions. I think we were all in agreement the Tigers are going to win our division, the AL Central.
Yep.
AL East, who you guys got?
It's a tough one.
That division is loaded.
It is tough. But
that's where I think Tampa Bay might be screwed this year because they do not have the horses offensively to compete with those other 4.
I'm going to go with Toronto. I think after watching them in the World Series last year and them pretty much keeping the entire team, they got a good thing going there. They got Dylan Cease. They'll have a full season of Shane Bieber.
They got the other Japanese guy who wasn't Murakami. They got Okamoto.
Pitcher?
No, third baseman.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they got Ernie Clement. I mean, Vlad Guerrero. They're a stacked team.
No, the Jays are loaded.
The loss of Bo will be tough, but I think they have so much offense, it'll be fine.
No, I agree with you there. I will say it's just so hard for me to not pick the Yankees to win that division, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Great pitching staff, obviously, and then obviously at the plate, Aaron Judge and
Cole back.
Aaron Judge and Aaron Judge and company. So
Yeah,
I'm picking
think
the Yankees.
So one thing about the Yankees that I mean, Stanton is in the lineup tonight for the opener. He's going to probably play 2 games, tear a hamstring, and then nobody will think or remember him. And then in October, he'll show up and hit home runs. I'm going to go Toronto, too. I think their pitching staff's loaded. Kevin Gausman has been excellent there in all his time. And I think they
got that Savage kid.
He's hurt to start the year.
Okay.
But they still have so many arms, though. They got Cody Ponce coming back from Korea. I mean, the list goes on and on. Mm-hmm. I like Boston to be okay, but I don't think to win the division. They'll compete for a wild card.
The Orioles are going to be an interesting team to
watch.
The
Orioles are going to be good.
A lot of offense.
Yeah.
We'll see about the pitching.
I like what they did, though. They went.
You love Chris Bassett.
I do. I love Chris Bassett. I think he's a great arm. And I also think getting Shane Baz from Tampa was a good move, too.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to actually go Toronto. Kevin's going to go with the Yanks.
Yep.
AL West. Seattle around the room.
Seattle around the room.
Seattle, I think Texas will be close, but I think Seattle will win it.
All right. Let's go to the National League East. Another, in my opinion, loaded division because I think Atlanta's going to bounce back. They had a horrid year last year. The Mets, I think, are going to be good. I mean, they spent $1 billion again this offseason. They brought in Bo Bichette. They still have Soto. Lindor's still Lindor. The Marlins, thank God they exist, the only team in baseball with the lower payroll than us. They have some nice young talent. I really like Kyle Stowers.
Marcy. He's really good.
Yeah. And then I think the Phillies are going to be good too. I'm actually going to go ahead. I'm going to pick the Mets, though, in this division. I think that Bo Bichette adds so much to that lineup. Now, which would be interesting, I think the Mets defense is going to stink because you're going to have a lot of good bats, but I don't know about Jorge Polanco at first and Bo Bichette at third.
Yeah. I'm looking at – it'll be a good division. Braves and Mets are good. The Mets and Braves both have a lot of health issues.
Yeah, they do.
I'm going to pick the Phillies, getting Schwarber back. You know, they've always had a great core in Philly.
Adolis Garcia went there in an underrated move.
Yeah, I think Garcia is going to be a nice addition. You have Nola still. You'll have Wheeler coming back. They have maybe the best closer in baseball in Duran. I'm picking Philly.
Kevin?
Okay. I would lean Philly over the Mets in this case because I think Bichette's a big addition to the Mets lineup, but they also had a big loss with Alonso. So I'd rather have Alonso than Bichette. But looking at the 5 teams here, I'm actually going to go a little bit different than you two. I'm going to actually go with the Braves. I'm going to trust the Braves this year. I think Ozzie Albies is going to have a bounce back year. Obviously, Ronald Acuna is a stud in and of his own right. I'm going to go with the Braves. So our first where none of us agree.
The only concern I have with the Braves is they already have a lot of pitching injuries, and we haven't even thrown a baseball yet.
That's all right.
Spencer Strider, Spencer Schwellenbach.
Those two are always hurt.
Yeah, they are.
They still have Ronaldo Lopez?
Yeah, had a horrible spring, though. Not that spring training stats matter.
Tribe legend.
Yeah, wasn't here very long. NL Central. Pirates actually spent money for the first time in our lifetime, and I actually really like the offseason, what they did. The Reds, I like what they did too, bringing in Geno Suarez to hit a shitload of home runs at Great American. Cardinals are going to be awful this year. I think the Cubs are going to be pretty good, and the Brewers are the NL version of the Guardians. Nobody ever thinks shit about them. They don't spend a dime, and they turn out to be in the playoffs every year. This is another good division.
Yes. I'm going to pick the Brewers just because, kind of like how you were talking about the power rankings earlier, they don't seem like they're that great, but they're very well run. They have a great manager.
They're the NL version of the Guards.
Mizorowski's a really good pitcher, and I also just don't like this division too much. I just think Milwaukee's going to win. I don't really care for the Reds. I'm not a big Cubs fan. I think they're going to see – I think – Imanaga, Boyd, I think those guys, Jameson,
Taillon, yeah.
I think some of those guys are going to I'm not a big PCA guy. I think there's going to be some.
PCA.
I think there's going to be
extension,
some regression on this in Wrigley Field this year. And not a big Reds or Cardinals fan. I think bold take, the Pittsburgh Pirates finish second and may get a wild card spot.
Wow.
Their pitching
that would be sick to see,
their
honestly.
pitching staff may be the best in the NL.
Yeah.
I mean,
they got a lot of young talent coming up. They might be having fun at PNC Park this year.
And I think also with you had Brandon Lau to that lineup and Marcell Ozuna. That
Ryan O'Hearn.
That between the three of those guys, that might be that could be a potential 90 bombs.
If they would have signed Suarez, I would have picked them to finish second and maybe
I like Suarez better than Ozuna too.
Speaking of Suarez, I'm going with the Reds in the NL Central to win it.
Wow.
I'm going with Tito and the Reds.
Wow. That's interesting. Now, I think Suarez is going to do wonders for that lineup. That's already a pretty good lineup with Ellie, obviously, and
right.
I've always liked Spencer Steer, Novelli Marte. There's a lot of TJ Friedel's a hell of a leadoff hitter. There's a lot of talent in that lineup as is.
Not necessarily from the hitting standpoint, but Brian Hayes.
Yeah, he can field the hell out of a baseball. He can't hit a flying bag of crap, though.
Yeah.
We're all going to split differently here. I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs. I think they're going to have a fun summer on the north side. I do like PCA. I think they might have been a little bit of an overpay, but that's okay. I think Bregman's going to do real well there. I really like Matt Bush. Michael Bush. I did that on.
I know.
Yeah.
But we both did that on the way
yeah.
here. Yeah.
And then their pitching is interesting because Imanaga is up and down. Matt Boyd, ever since he came to Cleveland, imagine that. The pitching factory has been excellent. They also have some good depth. They still have Javier Assad, Colin Ray. The Palencia out of the bullpen
He's really good.
He might be win reliever of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, he was excellent in the World Baseball Classic and even down the stretch for the Cubs last year. So we're actually all going to split this one, huh?
Interesting.
Nice.
Okay.
And then the NL West, is it worth talking about, or should we all just say
is this
Dodgers?
A sweep? Who do we think is going to finish second?
Yeah, that's actually a better question.
Padres. Oh, the Giants might.
Good.
I'm going to say Padres.
I'm going to say Padres.
Yeah, Padres.
Padres pitching though, Pivetta is your opening day starter. I'm not too sold on, but
he was really good last year.
But also their lineup is mammoth.
Yeah,
and they hit the crap out of the baseball.
Yeah, they'll find a way. The Giants should be pretty good, but yeah, I'll take the Padres.
All right. All right. I guess we'll just go with our World Series predictions to end the baseball special here.
I already said Mariners versus Dodgers. I'm going to go, just for the sake of being different, I'm going to pick the Mariners to win it.
Good for you.
I'm going to go Dodgers over Tigers.
Wow. Okay. And I am actually going to go Blue Jays over the Dodgers in a repeat of last year.
Repeat, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's touch real quickly on these March Madness Sweet 16 matchups, only because I think it does deserve some time. First week of the tournament. I know I was watching. Kevin, I know you were watching. Phil, did you catch any tournament action?
A little bit.
All right. So tomorrow you have out of the West region, you have 2 Purdue versus 11 Texas. Texas, I guess, is the modern version of an NIL Cinderella because you're just not going to have the small schools be able to do it anymore. Although High Point came damn close to making the Sweet 16.
They had a nice run.
They did. They did a nice job. You guys going to take Purdue?
Yes.
All right. Iowa and Nebraska, the matchup of the Farmers. How about that? Nebraska 1.5 point favorites. You know what? Iowa, nice little run of the Sweet 16. I like Nebraska, though.
I'm going to pick the Hawkeyes.
All right.
Take Nebraska.
Okay. Arizona, a lot of people's favorite to win it all, including mine, against those elite freshman guards Calipari has from Arkansas. I love Darius Akoff. He's going to be an NBA lottery pick. I love Malik Thomas. Arizona's got too much. Give me Zona.
Yeah, I think this is the most likely. Oh, no, I shouldn't say that because I do. Never mind. I'm going to pick Arizona over Arkansas as well. Arizona's the best team in the country. It was my pick to win it all.
Yeah.
I'm going Zona.
All right. Houston and Illinois. Houston who made it to the championship game last year, lost to Florida. I like Houston. Kevin?
I like Illinois in this one. Illinois was a team that I really debated on sending to the Final Four, believe it or not, when I was making my bracket. I'm gonna go with the Fighting Illini here.
All right. Now we're going to go over to Friday night, which just is like Blue Blood City and just like elite, all-time great coach. You know, we have St. John's led by the Don, Rick Pitino, against number 1 seed Duke.
Give me the Johnnies,
Give
baby.
me the Johnnies. I'm all in on the Johnnies. They have the juice.
Clean sweep for
They
St.
have
John's
the juice
here on the CSR.
Man, and I'll tell you what, Shire's a great coach, but Rick Pitino's been doing this, dude, longer since the 70s.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I was going to say when we were talking about Zona, when I was like, this might be the most likely matchup that a 1 seed gets upset, and then I was like, no, St. John's I like over Duke.
Yeah, like we already did see Florida out of it.
That game's Friday.
Yeah, that's going to be good watch tell. Friday, I advise everybody, PSA, be in front of your TV at 7:10 on CBS. I think that's going to be a thriller.
I do too, buddy.
That is going to be a thriller. Michigan and Alabama, 7:35 on Friday. Dusty May against Nate Oates. I like Michigan here. I don't think Alabama has the size to compete with them. I hate saying it. I hate Michigan.
Yeah, I like Michigan.
Yeah,
Kevin?
I'm going the Wolverines in
All
this
right.
one.
And then this one is an all-timer. You got Dan Hurley against Tom Izzo, 2 UConn against 3 Michigan State. I don't think this UConn team is as good as the last couple years. Give me Tom Izzo and Sparty.
Love Izzo. Can't bet against him.
Tom, you can, unfortunately. I went through a streak of picking Michigan State to win March Madness from probably the time I was like 13 until 20 every year because I was such a believer in Tom Izzo. I still am. I love Tom Izzo. He's my favorite coach. He's my favorite coach in college basketball. Just come March, it seems recently it's tough for him to get over that hump, man. I'm gonna go with the Huskies. I'm gonna be rooting for the Spartans though because I really do want to see Tom Izzo get a natty.
It'd be wonderful.
Yeah, it would be phenomenal. But inside joke there amongst the CSR members. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Huskies.
All right, and then finally, Tennessee is a 6 seed against 2 Iowa State. I think this Iowa State team's phenomenal. I've watched them all
Love the
year.
Cyclones.
I love the Cyclones. Clean sweep on the Cyclones.
Yeah.
All right. That was your Sweet 16 preview, and that is it for us. A lot of good stuff coming up this weekend. Baseball begins. My favorite sport. I couldn't be more thrilled. Phil, thanks for coming out here.
Yeah,
I mean,
second time on the
here.
CSR.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we know it's a haul for you to come out here, so we appreciate you
From the
offering.
east side to the best side, west side.
We appreciate you offering your baseball insight, and it was a lot of fun to break this team down and break the upcoming MLB season down. Really cool because I think what we discovered tonight is a lot of teams are at least trying. We think.
Yeah.
You know, so that'll be fun. And then obviously the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. And come next week when we record, we'll have 4 teams left, and we'll have Guardians games to bitch about. Can't wait.
Hopefully more than 1 win a week from now.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
They'll have at least 2, I think.
So, all right, that's it. Thanks again, Phil. Derek, thanks on the other side of the glass. For Kevin, for Phil, I'm Jerome. We'll talk to everybody next week. Enjoy the baseball season. Enjoy this preview edition of the special edition of the CSR, and enjoy March Madness. Good night.
Yeah, and make sure to follow us on Twitter or X, Instagram, TikTok. Obviously, follow us, or I should say, you can watch us on YouTube and Spotify. Also, listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That'll do it for the CSR. Go Tribe.
Good night for real.